Here we go. We begin. Welcome to the Richness of Life podcast with your host, Janet Anderson. Join us as we walk on the path of self-discovery, remembering the richness of life. Together, we will explore the depths of the human experience, hear expert insights, have conversations, experience transformative stories, and learn everyday wisdom. Tune in and discover the richness that awaits you in each moment. Hey, it's Janet Anderson. How are you doing? This has been in the works for over a decade. There are so many times where I have wanted to get it started and then stopped. Wanted to get it started and then stopped. And start and stop and start and stop. I'm sure that this resonates with you. How many times is there an idea that you have and you want to get going and then something happens along the way? Maybe you get sick. Maybe your sciatica puts you on medical leave for 6 months. Maybe the world falls apart. Maybe you feel like it's not perfect enough. You want it to look a certain way, and so you wait. Ultimately, this has been something I feel like I have been preparing for a really long time. And sometimes you just have to do it messy. I always do things messy. I will go on Facebook Live and learn how to play guitar and sing, something totally out of my comfort zone. And I'll do that messy. But for some reason, this podcast, I wanted it to look a certain way. I wanted it to feel a certain way. But because I had this expectation of where I wanted it at the end, it was making me hesitate on taking the action to actually get it there. My trainer, Jamie Atlas, he's like, "Why are you doing that, Janet? You don't do that on anything else. You always do things messy, and then you get feedback and you adjust." And I was like, "You're totally right. That is what I do." So for those who have been following my journey since the beginning, this is just another chapter in that story. And for those who are just joining me now, I'm so excited. I have so many stories to share with you. Stories to come and stories to reflect back on. So wherever you are in tuning in to Janet Anderson, then I welcome you with open arms. When the boys were very, very small, all three of them, so this was probably 2014, I was laying my youngest down to sleep. A lot of times I would do prayer and reflection during these moments. I heard God call on my heart, and he said, "I want you to write a book about joy." I was like, "You want me to do what? Write a book about joy? That is ridiculous. I don't know anything about writing a book. I don't know anything about publishing a book." I was really bad in honors English, so much that the teacher made me cry when I asked for help, that I was like, "I don't know why you would be asking me to do this." And he said, "I will give you everything that you need along the way." And because I trust him in leading my life, I said, okay. I had different chapters come in, and I started writing down those chapters. I pictured it as a book, but as I continued to try to work on publishing the book, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right with the person, the publisher. Ultimately, what I came to was God wants me to share it verbally. And that's when the idea of, I think it's supposed to be a podcast. My first 12 episodes of the Richness of Life podcast is dedicated to sharing this information relating to the book on joy that God asked me to do a very long time ago. I want to read the introduction of that book, and I have to tell you, the introduction quote, our priest, in one of his sermons, he said this quote, and I said, that's supposed to be the beginning of the book on joy. After Mass, I went downstairs to where we have coffee and donuts, and I was sitting there, and Father Trico walked in. He looked right at me. He came over, sat down next to me, and said, "Hi." I introduced myself. "This is my husband. These are my kiddos." we had a conversation, and I said, there was a quote that you had in your sermon today, one that was your father's and another one. And I said, can I use those? I believe that they are the bookends of a book that God is asking me to write down. And afterwards, Brett said to me, he said, I saw Father walk in, and I knew in an instant he was coming over to talk to you. There are these God winks that happen throughout your life, and when you listen to those, they will always guide you in the right direction. Rise, Embracing Resilience in the Face of Adversity by Janet Anderson, LICSW, best-selling author. Introduction. Joy is not so much something we find in work, but what we bring to it. Herbert Leon Trico. As a therapist, I'm inundated with the pains of the world. Each hour is a new set of hurts, heartbreaks, betrayals, and scars. A real-life offering of what the world has to offer. My database for what happens in the world is large and diversified. This data expansion is part of a process of growing professionally as a therapist. It is one thing to experience watching a documentary describing mass genocide, and another to watch an aged woman weep as she recalls her memories of survival. I am honored to serve as a catalyst of healing, but others might be perplexed by my career choice, because I am volunteering for a continuous daily assault on my emotional psyche. Clients have referred to me as an angel, a healer, and once as a saint. But I am none of these. I am myself, and in that holds the key to everything. In 2013, I had this facing the mirror moment. And this would be the catalyst of a life trajectory. And the reality in that moment, I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself. I had just had the birth of my son, Nikki. I was significantly overweight. I hadn't worked out forever. I had a successful counseling practice, and I really was helping a lot of clients. However, I hadn't slowed down enough to really do my emotional healing work. I made this decision that I was going to move forward. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what that meant, but I was moving forward. And when you make decisions like that, things change and people show up. My friend Kim Cullen reached out to me, and she said, I know you're having a hard time losing weight. I really think this nutritional detox system that I've been using would help you. She successfully lost 100 pounds on that. And I trusted her, so I said yes. So I ordered the detox, started putting that nutrition in my body. Oh my gosh, within 5 days, I literally lost 3 inches in my neck, 6 inches in my waist. Started on a Monday. That's where I was on Friday. But more importantly, I had so much hope because I had given up. I kind of thought, oh, this is just like when you get old and probably never going to be able to run again. I'm just going to have to get used to it. But this detox gave me hope, and that really helped launch my Team Lighthouse community, where we focus on nutrition, emotional work, and moving your body physically. What I refer to as the triad of health. When you have that triangle, you're doing those 3 things, and you put yourself in a community of people that are doing similar actions, you will always rise up. I didn't want to go back to being 25 years old, where I was an all-American pole vaulter. I had kids. I had a successful practice. Because if I would have gone back to when I was younger, I felt like I was erasing all the wisdom that I'd gained. It was more about moving forward. Every day I'm going to move forward. I'm going to get better. I'm going to do something that I've actually never done before. That nutrition came in, trauma, brain balancing therapy was introduced to me by Warren King, called QNRT. I incorporate that into my practice now and have helped so many people integrate and balance bad events that have happened in their life personally shifted my life. In that moment, I was able to continue to move forward. So many things have blossomed out of that. We all have this internal spring of joy. We just got out of touch with it. There was a moment where I had this memory come back of being a little teeny girl. I had this blue plasticky fall coat on with the hood, and it had the strings where you have the little plastic cap that you could pull up and then snap it back down so you could go whoop, whoop, whoop. I remember being out, and it was fall, and I had these little teeny brown boots on. I was probably 5 years or younger. So I've got this light blue jacket on. I've got these brown little boots. I remember seeing all of these colors of the leaves on the ground, on the dirt. The memory came back as I was laying down to sleep one night. And all of a sudden, my little feet started pitter-pattering around, and I started going in a circle. And the colors of all of the leaves, the yellow, the orange, the red, they were all around me. And I kept spinning and spinning and spinning. And I got this huge smile on my face. And at the peak of this smile, I lifted my arms up to the sky. I tilted my head back, and I could see the sun and the bare limbs of the branches of the tree. And the sun just came down, and it came in to the top of my head, and it just shot out my fingertips. And there was this joy that is it seems so hard to find. But at this moment, at this parallel experience where I'm an adult in my bed, having this memory of being a child under 5 years old, I had this realization that inside all of us there is a spring of joy. It is eternal. It comes from somewhere not of this earth. I believe it comes from God's love for us, from the essence of where we were made. It was part of us before the crown of our head even touched the air here. And it can't be destroyed. We just get out of tune with it. I see this over and over and over again in my office, working with clients, in my life coaching with Team Lighthouse, in my own personal journey, in the journeys of my friends and my families. When you heal and integrate the wounds, those core wounds that get you out of touch with who you are at your core, which then blocks this internal spring of joy that we have. When we heal those wounds and we get the nutrition, the building blocks that our human body needs to rebuild itself, and we do that work, we get back in touch with who we really are. And when we're guided from that place, we get access to a GPS system that will never guide us in the wrong direction. I highly encourage you, stay tuned in the Richness of Life podcast with me as we continue to go deep into my own healing journey. I just had to get it started. Messy, imperfect, it will build along the way. I'm so excited for you to join me on the journey. Many blessings, everybody. May we remind each other of the light we carry.